Well, here we are. Welcome back to Breakfast with Bacon. We have Throwing Words, Doug Bacon, whose last name inspired our series. Julie Zalua, who we fondly call Jay-Z, is our executive assistant and often the idea behind what we're doing to make it a reality. And then you have me, Lynn Ingersoll, your host. So welcome back. To give you some context, what we've been doing over these few weeks is really sharing what we're learning during this time of shelter in place so that it hopefully will prompt some learning on your end. By the end of this session, you will have heard some of our examples of what we're learning, and we hope that translates into your own learning. So today we're going to talk about vendor or partner. We are noticing when we start interacting with a new person or organization to help with a project, the relationship part is very strong from a strengths perspective with Doug and Jay-Z. So we're learning a lot about that. So Doug, talk to us a little bit about a new vendor and how that is transitioning into a partnership.
Well, thanks, Lynn. Yeah, so during the shelter at home, we're in North Carolina, so we've been, I think this is going on week 8 maybe of the shelter at home. And during that time have been thinking about, all right, so what are we going to do when we get to the other side of this border and can get back into whatever normal is going to be? And as it led us to take a project that we'd had on the back burner for a couple of years, actually, and really make that a priority. And so the idea is we're developing a piece of software that we can use with our clients to get some feedback on the impact of meetings. And to develop that, we brought in a third party that develops the mobile applications. And it was really important for me that it be a partnership versus a vendor relationship. And I know that because I've had really bad experiences in the past about then third parties that we brought in to work with us on different aspects that have just not gone well at all. And so I knew this, having that awareness, I really wanted to be intentional about this becoming a partnership, not being a vendor kind of relationship. And one of the things, as Lynn, as you mentioned, that we realize is that relationships really are the driver for Throwing Words and for how Jay-Z and I work together and how we work with our clients. And so knowing that I wanted this one to be different and was really intentional about looking back at those past experiences that were negative. And so kind of transforming those into what would the positive experience look like. And then for putting in kind of the habit of, as we launch this project with our partner, to be really clear, for me to be really clear about what a partnership looks like and what it doesn't look like. And so kind of brought that effort, kind of that intentionality to that meeting. And, and we're approaching the launch of our app now, and it really has been a partnership and really have been very pleased with how well we worked with them.
That's great. So it sounds like you're really tapping into your strengths of relationship building and also being aware of the fact that other people don't necessarily operate that way. Well, Jay-Z, you and Doug have worked together for quite some time, so you've really figured out what works for you all. Share or give us some insights into how that affects the mix when a new group or new vendor comes in.
Yes, I think having the negative experience, as is all things, it's a learning, right? It's a learning experience, and you gain knowledge that you don't normally have. So again, we had made the assumption going into working with this first party that they operated the same way that we do, high level of communication, personalized service, attention to detail. And we were sorely mistaken. It was completely transactional. And I think learning that gave us the awareness that not all companies and organizations operate that way. And so going into a new partnership with somebody, like Doug mentioned, having a conversation from the get-go and the onset about, here's how we operate, and we'd love to do the same with you, and kind of our core values and how we, how things are run and managed. We would love for that to be, reciprocated. And so again, getting rid of assumptions and clearly identifying and having a conversation from the outset, I think helps with just making sure we're on the same page.
Great. So it sounds like, Doug, over these weeks, you've had 3 takeaways that we keep coming back to: really being aware of your strengths, how that can move you forward, really being intentional on using those strengths, and creating a habit around making sure that those things happen as you move in and out of new projects, working with different people. What else can you share with the audience today?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm just constantly reminded of is that, being wired for relationships. So we talk about, we use the Strengths Finder and then their themes. And so, my top themes are harmony, arranger, positivity, empathy, developer, connectedness, relator, self-assurance, input, responsibility are my top 10. And 6 of those top 10 are about relationships. And so what I, kind of what I've learned through all of this is that in the beginning, these early conversations, I need to lean more on my self-assurance because I know what I want to see, even though my relationally with, particularly with positivity and with harmony and even the empathy piece can really make it hard to kind of put my expectations forward when I feel, I'm the first one to feel like something is conflict, and so can have a tendency to try to avoid that. And so having learned that through my self-assurance, like I know what I want to happen, and leaning into that earlier is really what helped, so kind of for myself, it was getting clear about what does a partnership look like, and then making that explicit and upfront, leaning into my self-assurance to make that happen.
Great. Well, that is a wrap for us here today. We hope that our learning will become your learning, and really think about what vendors or outside partnerships might you turn into a relationship in order to move your business forward. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.